Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Hope everybody is well. We are getting ready to jump into some mono green standard matches. As always, we're going to be playing events. Before we get started, I just want to mention that my audio may be worse today than it has been. I tried to get in there and change some settings to just make some adjustments, make some of the background noise a little less apparent when I'm drinking, when I put a cup down, when I'm shuffling my cards. I don't mind that you guys hear me shuffling my cards. I think you probably, as presumably Magic players, I'm assuming that, you know, might even find it comforting. But I think it was a little prominent, so I was trying to cut down some of the background noise, and I don't know what I've done. I clearly don't know what I'm doing when it comes to these sound effects, and I just cut it a little too close. I was still adjusting stuff when I got down to trying to start the stream, and I think it might be worse for tonight. I hope it's not terrible. I don't think so. I did try and do some just very quick sound checks before jumping on, and it seemed okay, but honestly worse, I think, than it has been. So I will do my best to rectify that before we stream tomorrow. But for the meantime, I think we're just going to soldier on. I'm going to try not to do any adjustment live on stream if I can help it. But once I get anybody in chat who's willing to let me know, if they tell me it's awful, then we may have to reevaluate that. But otherwise, we're just going to jump in. We got a new follower while I was offline. It looks like I shared on Facebook yesterday that I had been streaming, and I was just telling people that they could come hang out with me. And I think that one of my followers, I think I recognize the name as somebody that I know from when I played Magic before. So that is exciting. I hope that they show up at some point and we get to chat and I can confirm that that is in fact the case. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump in. We have, as always, going to show a quick view of the deck as we jump into an event. That was on my agenda tonight before I got into the into the depths of the audio mixer or whatever it's called that I was messing with, and obviously don't know how to use very well. But that was on the agenda, was to go ahead and, I think, instead of going back and trying to clip something old, I'm just going to come online and do a deck tech at some point. But since the stream is kind of late tonight, I'm not going to do it tonight. I think the next stream that I have the opportunity to get on earlier than 11, like yesterday, I think what we should have done was just gone ahead and knocked that out and then saved it off as a deck tech. But since we didn't do that, we're not going to do it tonight either. So the next time we jump on early, I think that'll be the plan. And we'll just clip it off and save it as a highlight from there and load it up as a separate YouTube video. As always, we're not going to go into great detail here. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to kind of take in the list as a whole. I'd be happy to talk about any individual selections either in chat if you're here with me tonight on Twitch, or in the comment section if you're watching on the YouTubes. So off we go, and we begin. So as always during spoiler season, we have been watching the spoilers. I am starting to get a little bit more excited for the set as it kind of rounds out and you're seeing some of the overall maybe themes come together a little bit more. But the individual cards, nothing has really piqued my interest amazingly well. But I don't know. I tend to do that with new sets. When I see the cards individually, I scour the the internet trying to find the new cards, and I've got to check out. I was using I'm Magic Boomer. I was going to MTG Salvation, where I have always gone in the past to look for Magic related stuff. Let's decide if we're keeping this before I continue. I guess it's loose. We got a 2 and a 3 though, and we got something to do on turn 4 if it's only attacking with the Haven. We're gonna keep this and try and get him with that unnatural growth. But yeah, so I don't know. It seems like that community has kind of died out. The spoilers still come in, and I think they're pretty much up to date as well as any other site. But there's not as much discussion on the message boards. It seems like message boards aren't as much of a thing as when I used to play Magic. So maybe I'm just not going to get that anywhere that I go. But I'm interested. Where do you guys go to watch the spoiler season unfold? Do you use MTG Salvation? I know there's also Mythic Spoiler, but it doesn't seem like there's. I mean, it's just the web page from what I can tell, and there's not really much community that I can tell around it. Um, I saw on a clip that I was watching from um, Saffron Olive that there's a. Is it just MTG Spoilers? I don't remember the name of the website. I'm gonna have to go look into that maybe sometime and see what that looks like. Um, yeah, so I guess my question to you guys is, where do you go to watch your spoilers or see your spoilers? Watch the spoiler season. Okay, so we've got clearly the mirror match. That is a great draw for the third turn. Although it does make my 4 a little awkward if I don't have another 4 drop. Um, well, I guess in that case I can just drop the pack leader. I still won't be able to attack with the Haven, but I can drop the pack leader and play the Haven. Yeah, I think we're. The question is, are we attacking with the pack leader? And I think the answer to that is yes, because if they block, we'll just trade them off. That's fine. It's a little worse for me because I have the natural growth, but if I have untapped mana, I could have a Snakeskin Veil. I don't think they'll block. Okay, they do, and I would make that trade honestly. But I have open mana, so there's definitely a chance that they don't. And I'm gonna have a 4/4, so he can't swing back. So I could have just gotten ahead in the race there if he had chosen to take it, or opponent had chosen to take it. They do play the Haven on turn 3 and another pack leader. So we would have been mirrors, except I drew the old growth troll. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and attack here. They are gonna take it this time. Okay. Play another pack leader. We play the Haven. Pass turn. I mean, we really do need to hit a 5th land next turn. That would be great. But as long as we do, okay. And they're getting in for 4. Maybe they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking about, but maybe they have land plus second Blizzard Brawl. Unclear. This little, this little, you know, effect here. Does that mean they're currently viewing that card? A little bit unclear, but I think it might. Okay, so they do get in. We did not draw the 4th land, so things are going to get difficult now. At least we drew something else to play with our mana, so we are going to do that. The question is, do we attack with the troll? Honestly, I think the answer to that is still yes. Our opponent did not hit their land drop last turn, though, so we're both having a few mana woes. They have a Ranger class, which is going to start to get them ahead. So honestly, maybe we don't attack with the Troll, because I'd be interested in blocking the Troll with a pumped-up Pack Leader off a level 2 Rangers class, and then ramping with the Troll. So I think we're actually just playing the Pack Leader and passing the turn. Might be a little bit defensive, but hey, I want to get to 5 mana. If I can trade off the Troll for a Pack Leader and a token on the Ranger class, waste 2 of their mana, especially if they don't hit their land drop, and then guarantee I'm going to get to 5, I think that's definitely the play. Since we'll only have 1 creature in that scenario, I am going to just play a Wrenn and start making Tree Folk, as opposed to the Unnatural Growth. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to block with both here. Am I? The upside of blocking with both is even if they have a Snakeskin Veil, I definitely eat the Pack Leader. The downside to blocking with both is that they could just kill the Pack Leader instead of the Troll, and then we don't guarantee a 5. But if they're willing to do that and just leave me with a troll in play, I think I'm okay with that as well. We shall see. And they do. Okay, well, that was the downside in that scenario. So, but we draw a Rangers class, so that's exciting. And now we're just kind of winning the race, I think. Next turn, they can swing for 3. They can swing for 7 if they hit a land drop and attack with a Haven, but they're not developing their board, and I can do the same thing on the way back. So yeah, I think we're just going up. Okay. They're getting in. Their counter, no blocks, obviously. Did they hit their land drop? They did not. Okay. So yeah, they're not interested. We're lucky that we were the one on 4 lands there. That's unfortunate for opponent, but we take those because we definitely are on the other side of that sometimes too. All right, back in we go. See, I'm really interested to see how good the new card that was spoiled either late yesterday or today. It's the 4-mana 5/6 flyer for black, flying and trample. That anytime they play the opponent plays a spell, they get a blood token or whatever. It's very interesting that it does not seem to matter to people these days how good a card is if it doesn't have an immediate impact on the board. I mean, 5/6 flying and trample. I mean, it's kind of like the old Goblin Guide argument, right? When Goblin Guide came out, everybody's like, "Oh, it's card disadvantage. Nobody's going to play this," and it didn't matter because they just got killed before they could use the extra lands that Goblin Guide might draw them. And I kind of feel that the 5/6 flyer for 4 just might be a good enough threat that the times that it is just killed before it does anything, it's still trading 1 for 1. How bad can that possibly be? But the times that you're able to leverage it, I mean, it's just going to get you so far ahead. I don't think they're going to have time to leverage all these blood tokens, which aren't really card advantage anyways. They're filtering. Of the cards that I've seen, I think that's the one that I'm most interested in. Perhaps thinking about a Bruin. It looks like we're against goblins here. I do like the fact that we drew another 2-drop in the second pack leader, so that if we need to next turn, we can pack leader plus Blizzard Brawl instead of the Troll. Because it is possible that they're just fast enough that we need to do that. They did not hit a land here, which makes the Battlecry Goblin a lot worse. But if they hit a land next turn and are able to play a 1-drop plus, swing in with everybody, and pump them once, that is going to be good for them. I'm interested in killing either of these. I think it's got to be the Battlecry Goblin, although, yeah, I think it's just got to be the Battlecry Goblin. And I don't think we're swinging either. I think I'm incentivized to hold off, and then the turn after that, when I swing, I can draw 2 cards. Whereas, that's the turn I want to try and turn the corner, not this turn, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not attacking. Unsure if that's exactly correct, but okay. Well, that is unfortunate. We're going to have to trade off one of the pack leaders here for this, and we're not blocking here, obviously, so it does feel kind of bad that we didn't attack in with the 1 pack leader. Yeah, this is still not looking great for us. Yep. Would have loved a second brawl there, obviously. Still not going to attack with this pack leader. The reason for that is this doesn't give haste. So next turn, if he wants to swing with the captain in order to get first strike damage through, he's going to have to give up his Bandit Warlord in order to do that. Honestly, I don't know. We'll have to see. I might be interested in just chump blocking with the troll to just to ensure that I get the 5 next turn for the Rin, because right now I don't have the 5th land. But I guess in that case I would just play the second Old Growth Troll, so probably not. I had some viewers for a second and did not get to ask them about my audio quality, and they left. So either they weren't interested in watching, which is fine, but um, the other option would be my audio is terrible, and they left because of that, and that's obviously not as fine. So okay, so they're filtering. Um, they already do that? Yes, they did. Wait, did they just do none? That had to have been a misplay, right? Oops. No, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I didn't see it. And one downside to Arena as opposed to MTGO is that MTGO had a very detailed event log of everything that happened in the game. I really did find that useful, and Arena does not seem to have that. At least not that I know where it is or that exists. So that makes things a lot harder, obviously, to figure out what happened if you look away, like when you're looking at Twitch or at your Twitch stream for a minute. So this turn we are turning the corner. We are going to go ahead and kill the Bandit Warlord. Did he attack it? No. Oh, he just did that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna kill the Bandit Warlord. Actually, no, cancel. I'm gonna do it on the Trampler, obviously. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and attack. He can trade off if he wants to, but I'm going to draw a card. Pack leader. And then I am just going to draw the second troll. Pretty much lock this one up. Hey! How are you, Luke? Now, I'm not gonna mention you by name if you don't want me to. I'm still a little bit weird on how that is on Twitch, but I know you. It's okay. You don't care. Okay, so that is you are Alan, correct? Hey, man, it's good to see you. Glad to have you here. The audio is great, by the way. I love to hear that too. I was saying I was messing with the audio settings before the stream, and I think I screwed everything up. So I'm glad it's working out at least okay. Always glad to learn some magic from you, as always. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know that you got much to learn from me. Um, but man, we're having fun. We're having fun. I've been enjoying playing a lot. Are you see you're on the Stompy playing? Yeah, we came by it kind of honestly. Um, we're playing free to play right now, and so we unlocked the 10 starter decks that they kind of start you out with, and we started playing the red green landfall stompy kind of starter deck and kind of improving that deck. And we got lucky with some opens. We ended up opening a couple mammoths and a couple pack leaders and a couple ranger classes. And once I saw pack leader and rangers class, I was like, oh, okay, well, there's kind of a wolves werewolves thing. And when I found out that the new set was Midnight Hunt and had werewolves in it, I figured I was just going to jump in. So I saved up all the wild cards I could, and I just built werewolves when it came out. And that deck was fine. It got me some wins, but once the metagame kind of slowed down a little bit and mono green was just kind of taking over, it was an easy transition because I already had the leaders, I already had the rangers classes, and we kind of just had to shift some stuff around to get into mono green. So that's where I'm at. It's great to hear from you, man. Are you playing Magic these days? Are you actively still playing? I don't even know. Only Arena, but you are playing Arena, so that's exciting. What are you currently on in Arena? You're not traditional. Hey, man, like if we had the card collection, I'd be ruining it up too. So it's only a matter of time. You've always had the brewer's itch like me. Mono blue tempo. Okay. You'll have to send me a list. I'll have to take a look at that. The the only other deck that I kept from the Let's see if we can just go back real quick and check this out. The only other deck that I kept from the starter decks that it gave us or whatever was the aerial domination deck, and I kind of made some changes to that. I like the idea of the flyer that drew a card when it came into play, and the flyer that made all your other flyers cheaper, and then the flyer that gave all your stuff +1/+0. And so we kind of just updated that with the cards that we had opened, and kind of went from there. It's got some unsummons that should probably be Fading Hopes now that I've got some of those, but I haven't updated it since I started drafting the new set. But so this is where I ended up with the deck. You're almost always behind, and you just play some little dinky flyers or whatever, and then you really catch up once you can start bouncing stuff plus playing some threats in the same turns. But once your stuff gets discounted quite a bit, you kind of just go off and get them. The 5-mana dragon is really good. The Emerith, really good card, honestly. But yeah, you'll have to send me a list, and maybe if I'm anywhere close, I'll try and make some modifications to make it fit the cards that I have, and give it a whirl, man. You and I tend to like the same type of decks. Nice. So I've somewhere on my page, you should see a link to a Discord server that I've started. If you want to, you can just post it in there, and that way it's there as well. If not, you can just I don't know how you I don't know how else you'd send me a deck. I'm still learning all this. But either way, glad to have you. Well, that's where I am. I'd be interested to see. Obviously, you've had more time to actually play it. I just kind of dink around with it whenever I needed to complete a quest with Travi. What's going on, buddy? Oh man, glad to have you here. So for you guys that have never met Travi is one of my friends from up here in the Pinehurst area, and he does not play Magic. So when he says ready to learn, he's on the ground floor, ready to come up, man. So excellent, glad to have you here, Travi. Well, Alan, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into another game while you go ahead and find your way to the Discord if you can, and post that deck list. I'll be happy to take a look at it and see where you ended up with that. I'm excited to see that. So we're currently sitting at 2-0. So Travi, for you, just so I'm not going to explain obviously all of how we play. You just kind of pick up on some of that as we go along. But basically, what we're doing is we're in an event right now where our goal is to get to 7 wins, and we can get up to 3 losses. Well, we can the third loss and we're out, so we can absorb up to 2 losses before we get to our 7 wins. So that's the goal, is to get to 7 wins before 3 losses. So this is a great hand. We've got a 2-drop, another 2-drop on 3, and then we have a 4 for the Chariot. So I'm happy to have the Brawl as always. And non-snow-covered island. Okay, doesn't change what we're doing at all. So one thing that I'll say about having the snowlands in Standard is that I think it makes interesting decisions at the start of the game for the people that are really trying to figure out what decks that people are on. So here, I'm assuming it's an Epiphany deck, so it's not really going to come into this particular game. Although I have started to play against a mill deck more often that, this might be as well. The clue there would be Evolving Wilds, right? But, especially when you see a swamp and it is not a snow-covered swamp, you're able to immediately realize, okay, I don't know what I'm playing against, but I probably don't have to worry about blood in the snow. Whereas if you see a snow-covered swamp, you have to take that into consideration. And I like the fact that just kind of for free, you get those kind of lines of thinking as soon as you start the game. So the Lotus Cobra was a great pickup here. The reason for that is we can Cobra, then play the land, and still play the Rangers class. Since we don't have a 3-drop, I'm very interested in doing that. Obviously, they could have some sort of counter here. They couldn't have saw it coming, but they could have a disruption. They could have a divide by 0. Both of those things would kind of disrupt us. Yeah, Blood in the Snow. Blood in the Snow being the big one. It's also funny to me that Mono White plays Snowlands. I mean, I know they want Faceless Haven. They're kind of incentivized to play Faceless Haven, so they're all in on Snow because of that. But I think it just hurts them in the mirror match because it makes Redain a thing that normally Mono White wouldn't care about. Okay, negate. Fair enough. But they're able to give us some. They're giving up points by making themselves weak to Redain in the mirror. And I don't think Faceless Haven is as much better than the whatever the flying land is from Adventures of D&D, that I would want to play it over the Faceless Haven. So I think we're definitely playing the land pre-combat. Since we did that, we're kind of incentivized to use this mana and play the Chariot pre-combat too. The reason I wanted to play the land pre-combat was to be able to at least threaten to pump the pack leader so that we could maybe incentivize them to bounce something and free up our Chariot from not getting countered. However, since we have the mana, this does allow us to play against or play, against Jawari Disruption. So we're going to go ahead and do this. If they counter it, the one good thing about countering on turn 4 is that this is the turn that they want to deluge. So we do prevent them the opportunity to draw their cards. We do get in for some reasonable damages here, get them down to 12. And they're playing some interesting cards here. I hate to see the Fading Hope. The Fading Hope is one of the ways that we lose to this Izzet matchup. And them going on top is not great for us either. Yeah, Fading Hope is kind of just like a time walk against us a lot of the time. Okay, at least we drew something to kind of use the majority of our mana this turn. So that is pretty good. So we're definitely going to lead with the pack leader. And I'm going to play the pack leader with the mana that we create off the Cobra. Then I am going to get in. Because if I'm tapped out for playing, well, honestly, no, maybe I'm not. I was going to get in because I wanted to kind of not give away as much information. But since we are going up to level 2 with the Rangers class this turn, I think we are going to go ahead and play it. Just use all of our mana as efficiently as possible. And they do decide to take the turn off to Deluge. We're only getting in 3 damage, so they're only down to 12. I'd love to have applied a little bit more pressure. However, if they feel the need to sweep these 2 creatures away, as long as we draw a land, we'll be able to drop a Huntmaster the turn after, and that will be a great threat that they have to deal with as a follow-up. Battle of Frost and Fire, so there's the sweeper. Honestly, I don't like Battle of Frost and Fire as much as I like Burn Down the House. I think Burn Down the House is more flexible, and it deals with, those rare cases where there's a 5-power creature that you want to wipe that Blood in the Snow is not, or Battle of Frost and Fire is not going to deal with. It also, there is a rare situation where there is a giant in play. We didn't hit the 6th land for the Huntmaster. That's unfortunate. We did hit a troll. That is great. I'm just wondering if it's not better to go ahead and take a turn off to get our Rangers class up to level 3. I think the answer to that is no. So we're just going to play the troll and pass the turn. Scrying 3 is the advantage of obviously playing the Battle of Frost and Fire. I think it's just more set up for the grindier matchups, whereas Burn Down the House is better against the aggressive matchups. But it kind of splits the difference. I guess Battle of Frost and Fire is better in the mid-rangey matchups, right? I think that Burn Down the House is better against the aggressive decks, and it's also better against the very controlly decks because you can just play it for devils instead of just having a dead card in your hand. So it seems like we're pretty far behind at this point. I want to just keep applying pressure. Burn Down the House is super fun. It's a well-designed card. It's a very well-designed card. Double iteration here means one of two things. Either they are still really digging for something specific, I would guess land, or they are already locked up with a Fading Hope for this troll, and they're just trying to make sure that they can win the game sometime soon. Considering the first iteration did not exile a land, I'm assuming that they were in fact digging for land. They hit 2 though. Oh no, well, yeah, they hit 2. This one's on the left-hand side, so I presume that's the card they put in their hand from the first iteration. We did hit the 6th land. I'm going to attack with the troll first to see if we can get them to perhaps bounce with a Fading Hope, and that would clear up, obviously, and give us the green light to go ahead and play a Huntmaster. Okay, looks like they are just taking it. So we have a decision to make. We can be a little bit inefficient with our mana. Well, I guess, or we could hope there's a 2-drop on top of our deck and just go up on Ranger's Class. Or we can hope they don't have another 2-mana counter spell for this Tovolar. Now, Negate does not counter the Tovolar, so it is just Disdainful Stroke. They don't have a Saw It Coming suspended, but I guess we also walk into Jawari Disruption when we do that. I think we're going to wait one more turn. I think we're going to play a land and go up on Ranger's Class. Try and start utilizing that to get ahead, and then hopefully we'll hit a 7th land at some point, or we'll get them to tap lower, and we'll be able to play this Huntmaster. Hey, One Eye, first time in chat. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad to have you here. Uh-oh. They've already got Epiphanies starting. This is this is where we start to fall behind, as they say. One Eye, since you've not been here before, what are you currently playing in an arena? Okay, so they've got another Snarl on their bonus turn. Alan says this is Epiphany is not their favorite card. I don't think it's many people's favorite card that don't play Epiphany. It is kind of the boogeyman. I will say it's not. I have not found it to be the bane that I think some people have. I think Mono Green normally does pretty well against it. Paper EDH player 90% of the time. Well, excellent. Well, I'm glad you're here hanging out with us anyways. You like watching it though. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I even when I wasn't playing a lot of Magic, I would watch a stream from time to time. So we appreciate you being here with us tonight. Let's go ahead and just start with an attack and see what's up. They've got all their mana available. Presumably they have something to do other than this deluge, but we shall see what they do. Oh, you know what we should have done there, chat? We kind of got a little distracted. That's still something I'm getting used to with the streaming thing, is I look over at chat and then I don't get zoned back into the game before I make a decision. What we should have done was Blizzard Brawl one of the tokens, because that would have represented lethal and it would have forced them to take action on the troll. I think that would have been worth giving up the opportunity to play Huntmaster this turn. Yep, they took action anyway, so I don't feel terrible about that. But I think I still would have liked to have made that play. They get a Mascot Expedition. They're interested in trying to gum up the board. All right, all right. I think if we can get them to tap out for the Mascot Expedition next turn, then the Huntmaster is still very good for us. So I think we're just replaying the Troll and then playing the Tracker as well. So One Eye, who do you play with in EDH? I play some casual Commander with a cousin of mine. That is the only Magic I have played in the past 5 years or so before starting to do stream. Okay, so they have another Memory Deluge from hand. Fair enough. But we kind of just play around. It's pretty casual, so none of my commanders are all that well built. They're kind of just more budgetary things for Oh, you've also got a pretty casual group. Nice. Yeah, Ellen, it's been that long. it's it's been that long. Oh, did he? Yeah, he did the thing with the iteration. Okay, well, we'll let him kill us, but. Oh, we're just doing it again? Or are we doing the mascot expedition? Yeah, we're just doubling up on the mascot expedition. That's going to be enough. Yeah, I did hold strong for a while. I held out. Just started playing with the D&D set again after about the same time. Right on. Yeah, we're just gonna let him kill us here. No blocks. I think he was. I think I was dead even if I tried to block, but whatever. GG opponent. GG. So, what did you think of the D&D set, Alan? I was not the biggest fan, but you know me. I'm kind of pigeonholed. I tried to expand a little bit, but I don't um, normally expand outside of Magic, and so I don't think I was the target audience. I did not like the dice rolling mechanics, um, but I did like a lot of the cards and the choices that they gave. I also didn't like how every choice was like ability worded or whatever. It just seemed clutter up cards. It seemed like to me, but what do I know? When you said you get in and out of Magic all the time. Um, oh, as you have time. Okay, yep. And you're not a big fan of D&D either. Great draft and sealed set. Oh, okay. So I did not draft any of that because obviously I wasn't playing at that time. I got in 2 weeks roughly before Midnight Hunt came out, so I had not saved up enough gold and or gems to draft any before Midnight Hunt came out. And once I was playing Midnight Hunt. So it's unfortunate I missed that. If it was such a good format. Alan agrees. Okay, he loved the limited. Yeah, Alan, I agree. Venture was pretty cool. When I was still figuring out the cards I wanted to play in this deck, or still trying to get wild cards to get the cards, I had some filler, and one of them was the 3 mana green card that when you cast it, it's got Ward 2. When you cast it, you venture into the dungeon, and every turn that you cast a creature for the first time each turn, you venture. And that was actually a really good card. I think most of the venture decks I've seen are white black, but I think more of like an Abzan thing could be good because that guy seemed really good. When I says the other 10% of it is sealed and draft, yeah, I hear you. I am more of a constructed guy myself, but once I drafted Midnight Hunt for the first time, as I learned that I wasn't supposed to just open packs to build a collection, and the easiest way to do that on Arena was to draft. And I drafted for the first time. I was immediately hooked again on the draft, and I did like I don't know 5 or 6 in a row. However much gold I had, that's how many times I drafted. Bard class. Which one is Bard class, Alan? The only classes that I really know for sure are Cleric class, Ranger class, and maybe that's it. See, I wasn't a fan of the venture effect though. It seemed most people chase the same one or choose the same one. Yeah, I will say it seemed like three was a small number of dungeons. I was very surprised to see only three. I guess there is a complexity concern with having too much as people were getting up to speed with what all the dungeons did. Maybe it just would have led to slower play with more than three, but I think you're right. When most of the time the aggressive decks were going into one, and the controlling decks were going into another, and like nobody went into the one that was in between. It's kind of how it felt when I saw it play out. But yeah, a little bit more diversity I think could have led to a better play experience from the adventure. Gives all legends +1/+1. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. It's like the once it gets going, you just cycle through your whole deck of nothing but legends, kind of. Yeah, I that definitely sounds like a deck that you would enjoy, and myself as well. Complo player me cried tears of joy. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're gonna jump back in. Travi, are you still with us? How did the? Unfortunately, we lost our first game with you watching. That's okay though. We're sitting at 2-1, so we got to win 5 more matches before we lose 2 more. That's our goal at this point. We're playing against Potato. Okay, so we have 2, 3, and unfortunately we can't attack with the Haven again on 4. Hot Potato. I hope not. I hope they run pretty cold one eye. I think that's what we prefer. We are on the play though. We got to keep 7, so I'm running pretty hot. Haven't had a mulligan. Have we? Have we mulligan this event so far? I don't think so. We've been mulligan quite a bit with this deck, and I think that's okay because I think this deck mulligans very well. The individual card quality is very, very high, so I think a lot of times being down a card doesn't matter as much as some other decks. We're playing against Izzet again, it looks like. I'm still pretty happy to be playing against Izzet, even though we did lose last round to it. I do prefer to play against the Epiphany decks to the Dragon decks. I feel as though the Dragon deck can just get us. Yep, we get disrupted, but that's okay. But the Izzet decks, I feel like just a lot of times they just dirtle and they kind of just don't get there. I think they've stabilized, and then all of a sudden they just, on the turn that I think they should just be wiping the last wave of my attackers out, they just are digging with iterations and stuff, and then they just kind of die. So that's I should have played the Haven that turn. That was a mistake. I'm definitely playing Rin next turn anyways, though, so it's not going to cost us. But if for whatever reason they make us discard our 2 Rins, we would have wanted to attack with the Faceless Haven. I guess this way we are bluffing a Snakeskin Veil. It's not a card I play in the main deck, but it is a card that opponents need to be aware of because other people are running it main deck. So maybe it wasn't a quote-unquote mistake. The Field of Ruin is interesting because it means they can still divide us, but they can't saw it coming us. And it's also interesting that they did not foretell a card that turn. Normally, if you're not going to be deluging, you can see the cards on Twitch. So I have an extension that allows you to do that. So when you hover over my card, you can see what card it is. It's I didn't know that I could do that either until I downloaded this extension, and it's pretty cool, isn't it? It's possible we were supposed to do this post combat, but I don't think that's the case.
We contain fires that must never be unleashed.
Oh, and this is definitely a mistake. Note to self, I've done this before and I got caught up again watching chat, but if you play a Planeswalker, activate the Planeswalker. Don't go to combat, because then if they bounce it in combat, you've just wasted your entire turn and didn't get any any use out of your Planeswalker.
They prepare for war.
Yeah. So we got lucky, but we didn't get punished. The other thing that I've done since starting to play Arena is I have completely played a Planeswalker and then just not used any ability whatsoever and passed the turn. So don't do that either, chat. If you're watching at home, don't do what I do. Okay, so they're burning down the house. That's okay. We have a troll, and we have another Ren and 7. So we can't leave up getting the troll next turn, so I think we're just going to play this and play the Rangers class. We are completely out of cards. If they have another sweeper, the 1 Tree Folk will survive it, but we'll be completely out of cards otherwise. But we will have the Rangers class ready to get all the way up to level 3 after this turn. So not too sad with where we're at. But we'll just have to see. We shall see. So yeah, the extension is the untap.gg extension. I didn't get it for that reason. I got it so that actually, if you guys want, you can type in !deck in the chat, and you will get to, hopefully, if the bot's working, you will get to see the deck list as it stands right now. So that's the reason I actually got it. And yeah, the ability to hover over the cards and see them was just a bonus that I didn't even know was going to happen. So I'm going to go up here pre-combat, try and hit a land to play to make the Tree Folk larger. And we do hit. It's also a good one. It's another Haven. We're also going to go ahead and pump up the Rangers class. I'm not playing this Cobra because I am interested in going up on the Rangers class to level 3, but we're going to do that post-combat. We are going to attack with both, and we are going to put the token on the smaller creature. Okay, they're deluging. That's nice. They are looking for a way to deal with our stuff. I have like nothing outside of my decks and memorize, so it's super helpful when playing. People are playing fast. Yes, I'm in the same boat. You know, like I said, I just started playing recently, so I, yep, I do not know all of the cards, and so having the ability to not care about what they're hovering over, but I want to read what Faceless Haven does. It's very, very good for that. I'm slowly getting used to the cards outside of what I'm playing, same as you and I. And a lot of times I know what the cards do, but I don't know the names. So if I'm ever like, oh, you know, they're going to have that 6 mana quadruple white thing that destroys all our stuff, but I don't remember the name of it. Um, I'm trying. I just, it's much more important that I know what the cards do than what they're called. At least if I know what they do, I can play around them. If I don't know what they're called, it's not as good for streaming content probably, but you guys get the drift. So. If we pump this up to level 3, we can't make the troll next turn. How fast do we feel like we need to kill them? I honestly feel like we need to try and kill them. We need to try and present lethal next turn. So I think I am going to play the Cobra and then crack the troll and try and just have as many attackers next turn as we can. It is nice that even if they sweep the 2 creatures in play, we'll still be attacking for 9 next turn. So that is nice. Is there any reason to not play Snowlands in these sets? Like, yes. So the one reason when I was talking about this a little bit earlier, we've started the Epiphanies. So Alan, if you know of more than one, the one I know is Redain. Redain is a big headache against these style of decks already because it makes your expensive spells more expensive. But if you were to play a snow base and your land also came into play tapped, I think that would be a huge detriment to these kind of decks. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of, but it is a pretty substantial one. The only reason you would play snow, I don't think there's a good blue snow card. The only reason you would play snow is for the 1 mana deal 3 damage if you control 3 snowlands. Like it's something bolt, frost bolt, something like that. Um, and I don't think that that's as much better than some of the other removal options that they have that you would want to open yourself up to Redain, because mono white's still a pretty bad matchup for the Epiphany decks anyways, from what I understand. So you don't want to give up any more percentage points there than you have to. All right, so this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, we're presenting a lot of power on the board, and they had to, you know, presumably don't have answers to it, so they've had to spend 4 of their 8 mana on a main phase deluge. And we're hoping to just get them dead next turn. That'd be the plan. They obviously can have quite a bit to say about that with 4 cards and 4 mana. Okay, so now they're down to 4 cards plus a bonus card if they can play it this turn, but only 2 mana. Yeah, man. Anytime. I'm happy to have those conversations. I can't say I'm definitely right, but I can definitely give you my opinion on why they don't do, the things that they do. Okay, so they foretold a card. They tapped out. Have they played a land this turn? I think they have. They had 7 last turn to Epiphany. So with 2 blockers, let's see. They take 4 definitely. They block the other 4. They block the 3. So that we can't present lethal, but we can get pretty close. And then we're just gonna have to hope they don't have the goods next turn. So we are gonna make the troll. Throwing the land isn't great. Yeah, let's just try and get them dead. And then after combat, we'll decide what we're doing with the Ren. Since they're tapped out, there's no detriment to that. And it's possible I want to just tick down and get the Tree Folk. It's also possible that I want to save the value of the Ren to work with the Rangers class on level 3 to try and get us back into this game if we think next turn is just going to be the turn that they get too far ahead of us. So let's go ahead and attack with everything. We'll put the token on put the counter on the Trampler. Oh wow. Okay, so it's worth the extra damage to kill off the Lotus Cobra. That's good information to know. Okay, so they're at 2. And I think we are going to go up with the Rangers class. And so that means we're going to see what's on top. If it's a land, yeah, I think we're not interested in drawing that land next turn. So we're going to go up with Ren to clear that land to our hand. And then we have some gas that we're going to draw next turn. Okay. Let's see if we can close it out, or if they had enough time that they now have what they need. It looks like they're taking at least 2 turns in a row. Yep. We're still at 20, so this doesn't kill us. They need to do more. That means that during one of their extra turns, they will be able to deluge and dig 7 cards deep to try and find another Epiphany. We're definitely probably behind here. But, I mean, if we get to untap with the Trampler, that's going to kill them. So, we shall see. Honestly, it's possible that not making the Tree Folk here is going to cost us because, that would eat a bird every turn that they take and try to attack in. So if they do lethal us just barely, we will look back at that decision and say it probably was incorrect to go up. I don't know. I thought I had more time. Clearly, the opponent thought that I needed to die soon. Gravy, if you're still with us, if we lose this game, we'll have lost 2 games since you joined the chat, and we might have to send you away, so that you might be bad luck. Okay, so the divide by 0 means that we would not have lost, or we would not have taken any less damage, because if they needed to in order to kill us, they could have just bounced the Tree Folk. It also means they might not have the goods to kill us right now, though, as bouncing the Tree Folk does imply that, or bouncing the Ranger class does imply that they don't want us to gain that advantage when we start playing next turn. Okay, well that does kill all our things, but, we do still have a Faceless Haven, we have the Rangers class in hand. Presumably they've got a Fading Hope for this Faceless Haven, because otherwise you're just dead. So I'm assuming they have it in one of these 2 cards, but we're going to make them show us, because if they don't and they're just bluffing, we don't want to miss out on the opportunity to just win. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to try it. We're not going to activate it again. Okay, so they got it. No worries. We're still just going to replay it. We're going to play the Pack Leader and the Rangers class, and, we're still representing quite a bit. 1 to the bottom is great. So since the Pack Leader is able to pump its power, and we played the Faceless Haven back out, okay, never mind. So they divided the Pack Leader. We still will be able to represent 1 lethal attacker next turn. They do get to draw 2 cards off of the teachings. But this is where I was saying, they sometimes just draw a lot of air, a lot of dirtily things. Like, it's possible they just have to play an expressive iteration, and yep, I mean, this is all just less mana they're going to have to interact with my stuff. Ravi, if you are still here, I was just kidding, obviously. You don't have to leave even if we lose this game. Still love you, man. We would like to stop drawing lands at some point, but right now, let's just go ahead and try and get them. We'll go ahead and pump with the Rangers class first. Go ahead and activate the Faceless Haven. Let's attack. They presumably have to answer the Faceless Haven, which means it's possible if they can't answer both, they go to 1. And then any of our attackers from this point out would be lethal. Okay, we're Galvanic Iteration a burn spell, it looks like. Yes. Very good. That is a good answer from opponent. We are going to be able to play another lethal threat, though. And we still have the ability to go up on levels 3 with the Rangers class at some point to try and get some more advantage that way. They are kind of just stringing enough things together to stay alive. This turn, though, they decide they have to go for the 7-mana Memory Deluge. Presumably, they're going to find an answer to this pack leader, but hopefully they have to take an answer to this pack leader instead of something else to start getting them ahead again. This is kind of turning into a slog of a game, isn't it? We probably are only playing one event tonight. Between chat being more active and me kind of catching up with Alan and One Eye being here with us and Travis hanging out for a bit, I have spent a lot more time just chatting and not jumping back into games like right back to back to back. We normally try and get in 2 events per night. And it's possible that we get 2 events in if we just lose this game and our event's over. I'm still planning on not losing this game. That's the goal. Our goal is to not lose this game and continue to play. So the opponent's got 3 cards in hand. We have 4. So we're now winning the card advantage race. I'm not sure that that's really where we want to be, but am I trying to stream each evening, Alan? Yes, as often as I can. So we drew the chariot. We're gonna. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I think I'm gonna go up on Rangers class this turn before playing the chariot. The reason being, if I hit something off the top, I'd like to play that off the top and start accruing card advantage. That does open me up to a disruption on the chariot, but I think that's a chance I'm willing to take. But I don't know. It's another one of those things we'll reevaluate if it doesn't work out. And look at that. We're going to hit the pack leader off the top. So we're just going to start accruing card advantage and doing this. Like, we drew 2 cards off this so far. Perfect. And the chariot would have gotten countered anyways. So this feels great. We are running 1 unnatural growth. It's funny, but this would, in theory, allow us to present lethal next turn because, this would obviously double and become lethal even without the +1/+1 counter. Another iteration. Yeah, it is honestly, it's pretty spicy. I like it as one of, I honestly might, I've got 2 Tovolar's Huntmasters in here right now. I was really high on them when I first started playing in the Mono Green Mirror match a lot. Okay, so are you making devils? Is it time to make devils? No, he's just burning my 1/1. I think it was better to make devils. He may run out of cards when opponent is on 19 cards in deck. Honestly, we're at 31, but we're going to catch up pretty quick if we ever get another Ren in play. Ren cycles through the deck quite hard. So we don't have a lot to do this turn, so this is unfortunate. However, they only have 2 mana untapped, which means that they do not have Saw It Coming since they have nothing foretold. We will obviously have the mana for a Jawari Disruption, and the previous opponent played Negates and Disdainful Strokes, but that's not normal in this style of deck, so I think the Chariot's probably pretty free. And then after that, for our last card that we'll play this turn, we can still play the Unnatural Growth. If they have a Jawari Disruption, fine, but yeah, it just makes sure that all our threats, if still in play, are lethal next turn. Yep, and they do have the Disruption. That's fine. I'm hoping that next turn we have something on top, so I'm not, losing out on anything by playing that there. So I'm hoping to have something to do with our mana next turn. If we have another land on top and I don't have anything to do with our mana next turn, maybe I'll regret playing that into a Jawari Disruption when I didn't have to. We'll just have to see how it goes. Uh-oh. I think they might be popping off again. Uh-oh. Chat, I think they got us. I think they did it. Yep. game opponent. What a slog. What a slog. It feels so bad. You know, when you play those long drawn out games, somebody obviously has to lose. It just feels real bad when it's you. Yeah. Trips Epiphany this time. He played the iteration and then he flashed it back too. They had enough to play iteration, flash it back, and then play Epiphany from hand. They had 12 mana. Yeah. Oh, yeah, just go ahead and do your thing, man. Kill me. Yeah. Yeah. It was quite a brutal showing. All right. Well, since we noped out at 2 and 3, I guess we're ready to jump into another league. That did not go to plan, but that's how it happens sometimes, right? I think we are still advantaged in that matchup. Oh, that was only our second loss. I lied. That game went on so long. I thought we lost to another Izzet opponent, started a new game, and lost to a third one. But in reality, we were still playing against the second one. Okay, well, that's like an extra life, right? If you think you've died, if you think you've wasted all your lives, and you actually have one left, it's like a bonus life. Those are the kind of games that I like to go back and rewatch. One of the main reasons that I'm starting the stream is because if I'm going to start playing Magic again, um, I started playing on my phone, and obviously on your phone you don't play as well because it's your phone. But I also found myself making some pretty boneheaded plays that I would have been really mad at myself. Doesn't one mode do best 2 or 3? Yes, and eventually I will probably switch over to that because I do enjoy that more. I like having a sideboard. Um, However, as my card availability is still kind of an issue, it's much easier to build 60 card decks, and I feel as though if we build 75 card decks to make good sideboards, it'll be slower that I can move between decks as I start to build up my collection. And so I'm playing best of one for now. But anyways, yeah, like I was saying, the one of the main reasons that I want to do this, I was playing on my phone on Arena, and I was was doing some pretty boneheaded things, and I knew I would have back in the day not made those same mistakes. And obviously, more repetition is just doing it, you'll get better. But I also felt like one of the ways that I could improve was to, watch back the games that I was playing because I felt like I was seeing things turns and turns later. Oh, I could have done this differently. I could have done this differently. And sometimes I felt like maybe I was just not even seeing the correct lines. Remus! Hey, Remus, how are you today? Glad to have you in chat. We have a pretty active chat today. Luth here with us is one of my buddies that I played Magic with back in the day. He has stopped by, and we appreciate that. And then One Eye is a new streamer or a new follower tonight, or I guess not a follower, but a new viewer in chat. So we appreciate you guys. Remus for Alan and One Eye is one of my most active chatters. He's here most nights and always keeps me company and gives me some good things to talk about. So we appreciate that. Oh, hey, One Eye. I appreciate that. I hope you didn't do that just because you felt like I was calling you out. I really didn't mean to do that. But I appreciate the follow. Thank you. We have met our follower goal. I appreciate everybody that's followed so far. And what we're going to start doing, it was Remus's idea that when we meet our follower goal or for the time being, I think what we're going to do is one night when we finish an event early and we're not going to start a new one, that we will, I'll take offers or challenges or whatever they're called to play against the people in the chat. Well, you're not on Twitch too much, so that's okay, man. That's okay. Well, I appreciate you being here tonight, and if you're ever on again, if you want to stop back by, that's cool. But if you don't, I'm just happy you were here hanging out with us tonight. Man, we are just getting time walked all over the place tonight. If they're going to be time walking us, even though it gives away a little information because they now know I also have a tracker, but if they're going to be bouncing my stuff, I'm going to make them give me extra clues to do it. So we're gonna play tracker back out instead of troll. he had killed my first threat with a Blood Chief's Thirst, and so I thought maybe more removal of the troll was better to have ramped me, if they felt the need to kill the troll. Would Rangers class plus level have been better there? So I'm sometimes hesitant in this matchup to play Rangers class as my only threat, because if I Rangers class plus pump and then next turn, the token cannot be bounced with Fading Hope, but if they divide by 0 my token, that's terrible for me because I get nothing back. So I like to attack with an actual creature. I like to have at least one actual creature I'm attacking with when I'm against divide by 0 decks. That's my current thinking. Not saying it's correct always, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm going to play the Rangers class first here because, all that being said, I would rather have a Rangers class in play than an Old Growth Troll. So if we're going to get Disruption, I would prefer to get the Old Growth Troll Disruption. Does Divide work on the token? I might have said that backwards, Alan. You're right. Divide does not work on tokens, but the Fading Hope does. That was what I was trying to say, but I just I think I did say that backwards. Probably you're right. The Divide only works on a mana value 1 or greater, so it can't bounce tokens, but the Fading Hope does work. Some of your favorite swamps. These are gorgeous swamps. I 100% agree with you. Okay, so we get ourselves a Rangers class. And let's see. The other option here would have been to just not even open ourselves up to the disruption if they had it and just go up on the Rangers class. Siphon Insight. Okay. And I will concede that might have been a better play. So it's very possible. Chariot me. I don't like when they have my Chariot. That doesn't seem great. I would have preferred to have played that Chariot, opponent. Seems better when I play the Chariots. Okay. Kind of glad they didn't get our Huntmaster, I guess. There's no good way to brawl this turn, because if we brawl a token, they just tap to activate the Chariot in response. So I think we just go up on the Rangers class. I'll offer the tracker for either both tokens or the Chariot itself. And if he, I don't know, if he doesn't bite, I might just kill one of the tokens post-combat with the Blizzard Brawl and assume that they can't produce an attacker of their, or a creature of their own to be able to crew the Chariot. So that's the game plan that I see right now. But we'll see how combat goes. It is possible that I don't kill anything with the Brawl. Like if he chumps something, or if he does trade the Chariot for the tracker, then I will just play the second tracker. I'm obviously going to put the counter on the Trampler here. Okay, so they do trade both tokens for the tracker. I'm happy with that. That means I won't have to brawl, and I can play the second tracker post-combat. And we get in some damages. All good things, all good things. So since the Chariot, I don't think they're going to be able to play a creature to activate the Chariot until they flash back the Siphon Insight and play another one of mine, presumably. So I kind of did trade 1-for-1 with the Chariot, which is about as good as we can expect out of the Chariot. I traded one of my trackers for both of the tokens produced by the Chariot. They made a pretty fast decision there, so this is probably a card they can play this turn. Okay, well, I don't care about that because it doesn't crew. And I really wish on either of those turns we would have drawn a 6-land to play one of these Huntmasters. Well, I think the play this turn is the same as the play last turn. The only consideration here is, do I ever brawl pre-combat just to get in for more damage? I could get 11 damage in this turn if I brawl, but the brawl is very weak to yeah, I think I will crack at least one of the clues. Right now, they're my only tokens, so I don't know that I want to crack both, just because I would, level down my tracker. Um, I might crack one, hope to draw land, and if I do hit, I might just go up to level 3 on the Rangers class. I don't think I'm going to brawl this turn, and the reason for that is it's very weak to Fading Hope, and they haven't shown any Fading Hopes yet. Yeah, I think we're just getting in for now. Honestly, we can actually crack. We can crack pre-combat, see if we hit the land, maybe make a more informed decision. Okay, that was great. So yeah, we're just getting in. Still putting our token or our counters on the Trampler. Fading Hope would be bad for sure, absolutely. Okay. There's back up to 8. I'm happy with that. And we're just going to go up to level 3 on the Rangers class and pass the turn. And just ripping it. Yep, sometimes you just gotta have a plan. And if it works, you feel great. If it doesn't work, what else were we doing that turn anyways, right? But yeah, it did feel pretty good. It did feel pretty good. Okay, so his blue-black deck just went Chariot into Rin, which is the whole point of what the mono green deck is trying to do, and they just got it off one Siphon Insight. Oh man, that feels bad, man. That feels bad. Whew. Yeah, we gotta trade this tracker for this Chariot, right? Holy cow, we can't let him do that again next turn. The good thing is we will be able to brawl the Old Growth Troll to kill off the blocker and get in for 8. The bad news is that doesn't kill him. So there's that. Well, okay, no. Am I just being silly? I guess we just don't block, right? Yeah, we're just gonna. Yeah, we're just. Never mind. I'm being silly. We're just gonna kill him. We just got him. We're not gonna block. I lied. See, these are the kind of things. I think on Arena, just playing on my phone without being streaming, I would have just blocked and just gone to the next turn. Yeah, we're just gonna brawl the untapped tree folk and try and get them. Sometimes the threats just look so scary, right? You're like, oh my god, I can't believe they played my own Ren. I can't believe they made 2 tree folks. I can't believe they still got their Chariot. I can't believe they're going to do it again next turn. You just in your head, it's like the fear factor, you know. You just get so pigeonholed in what they're doing and how it's bad for you that you don't realize that, you know, the avenues that you have to win. And we almost missed a lethal there because of it. That was crazy. I'm glad we saw it. Whew. Man, that was scary. Scary. Remus, how are you doing? Are you back at it with the werewolves? I know the other day you were thinking about trying to find another deck, but I think you mentioned Selesnya, but that was after Crimson Vow comes out. So until then, are you back at it with werewolves, or have you moved on to something else? Sticking with the wolves. New support is looking nice. I think you're right. I think there's definitely a few cards that I'll be looking to play a couple of out of the new set as far as werewolves go. The big decision point for me is, let's see. I tried the wolves; they're fun, but man, mono green feels much more consistent. I agree, Alan. Mono green definitely feels much more consistent. But Tovolar is a hell of a magic card. It draws so many cards when it gets going. It just you can outgrind so many decks that you wouldn't think that, or I wouldn't think you'd be able to. Um, my main decision point with werewolves when I revisit them after Crimson Vow is whether or not I want to include that one drop that you just mentioned. I'm not sure. On the one hand, it looks really good, but on the other hand, I think playing it more as a mid-rangey deck where you want one creature in play before you drop a Tovolar to start drawing cards, but kind of playing it more like I play mono green, where I just want to tap out every turn, and maybe skipping the one drops. I don't know. I kind of don't know where I fall on the one drop. I'm gonna have to get it, and I'm gonna have to play with it. I think it's where it kind of falls for me. But yeah, the 5 drop looks great. I didn't like it as much when it first came out, but the more and more I think about it and the damage that it represents the turn it comes into play, I mean, I think I'm definitely going to be trying out some of those. And I really do want to try the Elvish Piper werewolf thing. It looks super fun. I don't know if it'll be good, but it could be. I mean, if it's good, it's going to be very, very good. I guess it's a card with no real in between. Either it's not going to be good, and you'll find out right away, oh, this is cute, but it's not what the deck needs, or you'll find out, oh my god, tapping it to put 2 creatures into play and then passing the turn and having everything switch to night is just winning me a all the games that it happens. So, um, let's see. One eye says, I really want to make a mono blue EDH stick with the new giraffe. Um, I'm trying to remember what the new giraffe does. I'm gonna go real quick and just look that up, One Eye, because I don't remember that one specifically and what it does. Um, okay, okay, right. So the new giraffe is the one that gives flying to all the zombies, and then you can sack a zombie to make an XX. Um, yeah, what are you going to use the new draw for? Are you going to utilize the sacrificing and the making of the token, or are you like going to build it as an aggro deck that just wants to give all zombies flying? Because that's not normally a thing that zombies would have. Um, I think either would be cool, but I think what was that? Charis? Charix? I'm not sure when I what you meant by that. Maybe that's a card that I don't know of. Um, Cheap walls becoming XX zombies with flying. Okay, so you're playing with walls, so you're kind of utilizing both things. That's an interesting way to build that. That's pretty cool. I had not thought about it with walls, but yeah, it's their toughness. So that's a lot of fun. All right, Remus, we'll see you in a second, buddy. Um, oh, the 017 for 4 is that Oh, that's not a new card though. That's an existing card from like a previous set. I do kind of vaguely remember that being a thing. Um, Sack for one and make a 17-17. That seems super fun. I'm not gonna lie, I was not going as deep as you. I was thinking of just more like aggro zombies and then just utilizing Giraffe to give them flying and try and be a beatdown. But what you're doing is infinitely more fun. I'm completely on board with everything that you just said. That sounds amazing. um, so yeah, Alan, back to what you were saying about Cleave. Cleave is weird. I personally love Cleave though. I think the Cleave mechanic is such an interesting space to say, hey, we're going to include something on the card that the first time you parse it, you have to read it and identify what it does in this. And then the second time you parse it, you have to change your understanding of what the card does. It's kind of similar to what's um, what's the mechanic that Cyclonic Rift has? I don't even remember, but it's kind of similar to that, except Cyclonic Rift is always the same thing. It changes target to every, whereas this is modal. It's just whatever you want. But the only caveat is that it always has to be subtractive. and Overload. That's it. It is also similar to Kicker Allen. I think we were talking about this the other day with Remus and another one of our chatters, Bix, who's here a lot. Um, the difference, I think, with Kicker and is that Kicker is always additive, right? And Overload is subtractive. And you could say, well, you could just see the original card as the cleave card, and then Kicker would be the subtractive. But the difference there is that I think that Kicker is more fluid in what it can do, and there are also cards that directly relate to a card being kicked. Um, and so I think some of the design space, you know, not that I know much about design, I don't know, so I don't know why I'm throwing words around like design space or whatever, but this is just how I'm thinking about the cards. But I feel like some of the power that they can give to a mechanic is capped by how many things kind of depend on that mechanic. So if there's a bunch of things that say, oh, if this card's kicked, blah blah blah, then you can't make too many good kicker cards because it makes those cards too powerful. Whereas you have cards with similar effects, like one has kicker and one has overload and one has cleave, then you can make stronger cards that are dependent on those mechanics because there's not as many of the cards with that mechanic to kind of play off of them. So it's all one big ecosystem, and I welcome Cleve with open arms. I think it's really cool what they've done with that, and you know, the rest of the Magic community can complain about how it looks all they want, but I think it looks pretty cool. Cleve requires two colors though, so it will be interesting, but basically turns it into another card. Oh, is that the case? When I didn't know that. Are all the Cleve cards are all the Cleve costs always two colors? They always add a second color. Dig Up is a pretty interesting card. Is that the Is that the one that they started with, Alan? The land searcher that searches for any card if the cleave cost was paid? Land tutor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That card looks honestly really good. I really like the one I like what they do with green with the 1 mana land tutors now that are the land tutor plus. Obviously when they were just things like Gift of Estates or whatever, that's all they did was search for a land. It was pretty boring, and it was kind of one of those cards you were like rolling your eyes when you saw another one because you're like, really, another one of these effects. But now that they're doing like the land search plus, there was the one that with kicker that you search for a second one, and then there was the Uvenwald, which obviously with delirium was very good, and now this one um I think that's honestly like going to be kind of like White has a new Oblivion ring in almost every set. I think I can see Green kind of getting one of these kind of Land Searcher pluses in every set, and they don't really get old because there's always some little tweak or difference that makes them unique to the set or block that they're in. And sometimes they're really bad, and you only play them in limited, and sometimes they're really good, and they make their way into constructed. And I think that's pretty cool. We were really spoiled with Ramp back in the day. Yeah, you're not kidding, right? They they have learned to make ramp more kind of like even keeled. I feel like back in the day there was some environments where there was like so much good ramp, and just went from like sometimes 2 to 3 to 6 to 7, and that was just crazy. Um, let's see. Cleve will be great in Commander. I bet Dig is practically an auto occlude in a black green deck. Yeah, I think you're right. Any commander deck that can make use of it. I mean, and I don't see many commander decks that wouldn't for whatever reason. I think it's going to be pretty ubiquitous. I, I didn't say that word correctly. I'm not going to try it again because I don't want to screw it up again. It's going to be all over the place, guys. It's all right. Um, yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump back into a game. Um, we're going to try and get up to 4 wins. I love how active chat is tonight. You guys are making my night right now. It is 12:30, and we've only like gotten through 6 games, so we're definitely not playing a second event tonight. Um, how do we like blood tokens? Well, I was saying Alan earlier about the 4 mana 5/6 flying trample. I'm really interested to see how good that card is. I feel like that in rate is just amazing, and I was comparing it to Goblin God. You know, when Goblin Guide first came out, there was kind of two camps, right? The camps that knew it was good, and the camps that said, "Oh, it would be good, but we just don't want to give them the land." And you know, it just turned out that it doesn't matter that we give them the land because they're dead. You know, and I think that the vampire kind of has enough power to kind of get in some of those situations. If they ever kill it, it's really just a 1-for-1, and maybe they get 1 or 2 blood tokens or whatever that they get to cycle. But I mean, if he ever sticks in play, he's going to close the game fast, and I think he's going to be pretty good. So that's the kind of card that I'm kind of using to evaluate the blood tokens or whatever they're called. And if that's the power level of the cards, I think blood tokens are just fine. You know, it's just like they're kind of like another thing to do, kind of churn through the deck. Um, Madness decks will be drooling. That is very true. I'm kind of viewing it through the lens through the one card that gives them to your opponent, and I haven't really thought about the ones that you utilize yourselves. So I'll have to look at the individual cards that make them and kind of think about it. But I like what they're doing with like treasures and clues and you know, all the kind of things that they're doing with these extra little bits and baubles. You know, it kind of feels like to me, Alan, like Dominion when they started doing all the different things with like the different counters and things you could place on the board. And I think it added a lot of depth to Dominion. And I think it's kind of doing the same thing in Magic. And I really like what they're doing with all of them. What are we doing with this hand? This hand's not great, right? I think we're mulliganing this hand. If it didn't have a 5-drop and a 6-drop in it, maybe we would keep. But um, I guess we're keeping this and just put. Oh, I wasted too much time and it made me keep it, and it put back a random card. Oh no, I didn't know that would happen. Okay, well we kept the 6-drop and a mulligan to 6, but maybe we'll get there. We're playing against. This is what I'm saying, chat. We're playing against a non-snow covered swamp, and now we know that we don't have to worry about blood and snow. So I like that we can. Oh, we're playing against Jund of some nature. Okay. I like that we can kind of start to differentiate the decks just based on their first land drop, even with the basic land. I think the snow lands, for that reason, add a lot of depth, and I like having stuff like that around. I would not mind seeing another super type of basic land in addition to snow that they start playing with. Like snow has come back a couple times now, and I would be interested to see what another super basic land type would even look like, and if they'd be interested in doing that. I think it would be pretty cool. We're already not looking too great. But we're going to do our best. We're going to do our due diligence. Let's see. We have an option of pumping the Ranger's class and offering the wolf for both of his creatures. I don't think he'll take it, but I wouldn't be happy if he did, quite honestly. The other option is to just swing in, and if he tries to block, we can see if Inscription gets him. But I'm kind of thinking that one of the ways we catch up is to kick an Inscription. So artifact land, yeah, but those weren't basics though. You know, if they did a basic artifact land, oh dear lord, that would be scary. um, so I think we're just attacking it with our 2/2 wolf and then playing the pack leader. If he wants to trade the cobra for the wolf, I'm fine. Yep. Okay. Okay. Taking a black mana, playing a Binding of the Old Gods. I really like Binding of the Old Gods. I think that it is a great card. I'm very interested in building some sort of black-green monstrosity that plays Binding of the Old Gods. And I'm a sucker for value, so what I really want to do is I want to play Binding of the Old Gods with the modal Dewface land that if you don't play it as a land, you can regrowth something for 3 mana. And I just want to... What the... Oh no. So, Alan, I'm sorry, but the bot has timed you out. I don't know. I didn't know that that was a thing. I'm still figuring that out. It banned my all caps. Okay, I'll have to go in there and figure that setting out. I don't really care if you caps in my chat. Don't do that again, sir. Bots hate it. Yeah, right on. Oh no. It did it for symbols too? Dude, you got banned for 600 seconds. So you're out for 5 minutes there, bro. So now you know you can't do symbols either. We're just. I have nothing else to do with my mana, so we're just getting in for damage. It's unfortunate. That's where we're at. Let's get him dead. Try to get him dead. So if you're new to the chat, don't all caps and don't put symbols, because apparently that'll get you banned. I love that, Alan. Alan, I love that you were explorative enough to do that. After you got banned the first time, you're like, let's see what else the bot doesn't like. Let's. It's a lot of escalation. The first ban is 5 seconds. The next ban is 600 seconds, which is not 5 minutes. That's definitely 10 minutes. I don't know how to math. It's sad that I used to be a math teacher, I suppose, if I can't count. But sometimes that happens. So what are we doing here? We're definitely getting in. I don't like that all his little dudes are going to get Death Touch next turn. He's going to get in for damage if he wants, but I think we're attacking him with everything, and then we'll just get him with the Inscription if he tries to triple block the pack leader. Yeah, I'd rather do that than brawl this turn, because even if I brawl, if I brawl with one, I could still attack through and he couldn't triple block, but then I still can't play anything else. So I'd rather just go ahead and try and see if I can get full use out of my Inscription. Back with the burrito. Remus, man. I hear you with the burrito. What kind of burrito do you got? Is it like a just a microwave burrito? Is it a homemade burrito? Is it did you go to Taco Bell? Like what are we talking? Conan is figuring it out. What is he doing? What are they doing? Homemade. That's the best kind, man. I hear you. Okay, so we do get to try and get in with the Inscription here. Let's see. If we put the 3 counters here... If we put the 2 counters here, we still can't fight here. I wish there was a way we could utilize and also kill the Lotus Cobra and keep our pack leader alive, but my feeble brain cannot figure that out. So we're definitely putting the counters here. We're definitely getting the life. I want the damage, so I'm not going to end up killing the Cobra, so I guess I'll just keep the pack leader. Yeah, I definitely am interested in doing that. So I guess we're just fighting one of these early. Alright, there we go. If we Blizzard Brawl pre-combat, we would have drawn a card. That's true, Remus. I was worried about not... I didn't want to waste 4 mana, basically. But, you know what? You might have been right. A play that I did overlook was using the other 4 mana to pump the pack leader, because I could have done that. That might have been a better play. I will have to keep that in mind for the future. Thank you for pointing that out. You are probably correct. Hindsight is 20/20. It always is, man. The plays look so good when you notice them after the fact. Like, why didn't I do that? Ooh, and he's got enough land to meat hook me for 5 and kill my big threat. And we don't draw land for the Huntmaster. And this Huntmaster, see, this is why I've kind of cooled on it. There's been a couple times where I've just been stuck on 5 for multiple turns and not been able to get them. But I think we're still doing okay here. It'd be great if they had to just spin another Meat Hook Massacre to kill this Tree Folk. It'd be also great if they just couldn't kill the Tree Folk. I would accept that as well. Always a valid option. Just die, opponent. Just die. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go up with the Wren and try and find us a land for the turn. Did we whiff? Oh no, we're waiting. He's going to run out of cards soon? I hope so. I can't wait. Don't like seeing milling 2 chariots. Does anybody in chat know why this only shows 3 cards? It always seems to do this, and I don't understand why. I clearly flipped 4, so why does it only show me 3 in that little window? I just don't get it. So we're going to go ahead and play land. Let's go ahead and play Ranger's Class and pump it up as well. He's probably killing this Tree Folk, but if he doesn't, I'd rather get in for as much damage as possible. The reason we don't play Huntmaster there, the last one was in your hand already. So I don't think so, because both of them go to my hand, right? So if it shows me one, it should show the other. And I do believe that I've seen situations where I only have one hit, and it's that one still shows up in the 3. But I can't say for sure. So I'll have to monitor that some more when I... Okay, so he took the hit. That's great. So the question is, do we commit any more to the board? The reason we didn't play another Huntmaster is because obviously this is enough to incite him to try and kill what I already have. Let's see, 1, and we have 6 right now. So land plus another meat hook, but that's like questionable. I think I am going to play this. We do have a refuel option in Huntmaster if they do somehow wipe our board, so that's fine. And then after that, if we continue to not have anything, we do get Ranger's Class up to level 3 whenever we want, and we'll be ready to kind of hopefully reload. I might actually do that prior to playing the Huntmaster. One of the things that I find that I don't do as well as I probably should. What was that? They played a sequence and then just scooped. Okay, well, I accept that. Sometimes I find that I don't pump my Ranger's Class to level 3 when I have other actions to take. And then when I run out of actions to take and I get Ranger's Class to level 3, if I have 1 or 2 lands on top, then I have nothing to do with my turns. Whereas if I would just bite the bullet and not commit as much to the board for a turn, then I could start leveraging the Ranger's Class more early and play those cards off the top when I could. And then when I couldn't, because there's a land on top, then I can start playing and deploying the ones from my hand if I feel like that is necessary to play more to the board. So that is something I am trying to be more aware of. I think it's a spot that I'm weak at is that Ranger's Class activation. So I'm trying to find spots to activate. Yeah, it's almost like a scry each turn. Exactly. And I think only doing that when you don't have any other plays is probably costing me some games. We have been running for about an hour and 45 minutes. It adds up over time. Absolutely. So yeah, we've been playing for about an hour and 45 minutes. I'm out of my water and my tea. So after this game, I am going to take a break, regardless of whether we've won or lost, and go refill. And when we come back, as long as we won this game, we'll try and continue on with our league. Hopefully by that point, Alan will also be off of suspension. So there's that. Another awful hand. I think the shuffler decided that it didn't like it when I said that we hadn't taken many mulligans this game. And so it decided to give me some mulligans to play with. If this was a Ren, it would be a questionable keep, but it would be worth probably doing to see if we could go Cobra on 2 into Chariot on 3 and Ren on 4. But with the Huntmaster not giving us that option, I think this is just bad enough we have to mulligan. This is not great either. I think we're keeping this and putting the inscription back since we're not going to have anything too good to do with it early in the game anyways. And on turn 3, we'll just class or level the class if we don't have anything to do. If on turn 4 we still don't have anything to do, we can obviously attack with the Haven. And then if we're not drawing things we can play, presumably we've at least drawn 1 land to be able to Ren. So it's not great. I'm not happy about it, but I think that's what we're doing. Opponent is mono white. This is the first time this league we're up against mono white. I have said before that most leagues, whether or not I get to 7 wins is mostly determined by how often I play against mono white. And this time we don't have any matches to give because we've lost to Izzet twice, which is pretty unusual for this deck. So I'm not feeling great to be playing against mono white on the draw, down a card, on my rubber match. So, um, does Ashaya stack with Rin tokens? Like, do you mean does the Rin token the Rin tokens get larger for your non lands? Yes, that should work. Hey, Alan's back. Welcome back, buddy. Yeah, you you tempted the bot, and the bot made you pay. Hmm. Okay, so we are able to kill the larger aspirant here. That was a great pickup for us, quite honestly. I'd much rather do that than play the tracker. So we're gonna play our land. We had a game yesterday that we still won, but we made our lives infinitely more difficult than it had to be because we played a brawl without our third land in play. So we ended up trading 2-for-1 instead of eating a creature and attacking, and that was terrible. So got to keep that in mind. So we're going to go up here on the Rangers class. We're going to go ahead and attack, get our counter, and then post combat we'll be able to kill the 4/4 aspirant. Alan angered the bot gods. Well, yeah, don't do that again. Don't, at least for tonight, don't try and figure out what else the bots don't like. You can just give that one a rest, I think. No, the hits just keep on coming for this guy. Okay, we get a good draw ourselves though, so we can attack into the Adeline. And although that's not the greatest play in the world, I think we have to. Well, honestly, no. Maybe we just hold off. We're just gonna play the Chariot and pass. I don't want to get into a race. He just takes it, right? There's no way he blocks, so I think we're not trying to be in a racing situation. We're trying to be in a stay alive situation. Love to hit a land next turn for a Ren. Okay, we're not playing Ren next turn. But, no matter what he takes, we will have a play for next turn. He honestly might take one of the other plays and just bank on me not drawing a land, but I think he takes the Ren here. Yep, he agrees. Or opponent agrees. I'm trying to be better about that. Opponent agrees. This card is very good against us. However, we do actually have a Haven this time, so it's not as bad as normal. Yep, starting to pump up on the flyer, as expected. I would really love to draw another Ren maybe next turn. So this turn we're just deploying both of our things. Question is, are we getting in with the Chariot? Probably. I think I would trade the Chariot for Redain. And I think we have enough stuff on the board that he can't attack him with those ground stuff, even if we attack with the Chariot. So we're going to go ahead and tap the tracker since we can just do that with the one creature. Leave the rest of our stuff back to block. And get him. Oh, not all attack. No. Just making a copy of the wolf. We are going to copy the wolf instead of the cat. That does matter in our deck because of Huntmaster. They are going to block with the Adeline. That's good for us unless they have a second Adeline that we just opened up from their hand. It was bad, man. Ah, well, that was unfortunate. They decide to pump the Adeline instead of the Spellbinder. I'm okay with that. So I think this was a good draw. We can kill the flyer, and then that does buy us a lot of time. I mean, they will eventually be able to just keep pumping with aspirant if we don't draw things, but presumably we'll draw some things. And, they don't have a good way through right now. We do have the Haven to handle the Sentinel, and we do also actually get to attack this turn with the Vigilant tracker. So either get in 5 damage or get to eat a 1/1 perhaps, but it's free because I still have it as a blocker. And end of turn, oh, it's 6 damage, right? Because of Ranger's class. The reason why we didn't pump the other Ranger's class, by the way, is we definitely want to have the Faceless Haven up to block the Sentinel if they go for that. And at the end of the turn, we can just sack this clue because we have plenty of other tokens to keep tracker on the large mode. Ooh, we are both drawing well. Unfortunately, when both of us are drawing well, that bodes better for mono white. Although, as the game goes longer, we pick up more and more percentage against mono white. So I'm interested in just drawing this game out as long as we can. Yep. Okay. I'm happy that they're doing this because we do get to. We're gonna wait for them to attack, and we do get to eat it with the. I mean, we trade. Obviously, it's not eating it, but we get to trade with the Haven. They do get to grow their familiar again, which is unfortunate. Okay. Oh, we yeah, we had to. Yeah, I was gonna say we didn't crack the clue, but we couldn't. We had to block with the Haven. That was the plan. So now our choices are going up to level 3 with the Rangers class, or playing a pack leader plus being able to crack the clue. I think these tokens are holding off enough of the opponent's stuff that we are just going to take a turn off to try and get there with a Rangers class and start getting advantage that way. So let's do that. That's a terrible card on top. Obviously, we can't even play it, and yeah, it's just not doing us any. Once we get it into play, the card is amazing against mono white. So let me not undersell it. So if the card under a natural growth is a creature that I can play like another 2-drop, that would be ideal. I guess that is really just the 2 Lotus Cobras and the other 3 pack leaders. But if we can survive until we hit a 5th land and we still have some semblance of a even board, it will be quite good. Getting there with it on top and only having 4 lands in play is questionable. Well, chat, that was a beating. That was not great. I guess that is the downside of not playing the pack leader. Honestly, if there's not another creature under the unnatural growth, it really doesn't matter. And even now, this troll, I can only play one. I could have only played one of them anyway, so I'm definitely going to play the troll off the top and just clear it, so I don't have to draw it next turn. And we'll just play this pack later at some point. Yeah. Okay. So the 5th land, I think, as long as we do have to find a way to deal with the Spellbinder too. The flyer was harsh for us for a number of reasons. Well, there's nothing we can do about it, so we're just going to pass the turn. Yep. So next turn, we'll have to draw the land, and then we will be cracking the clue to try and find an answer to the Spellbinder. And honestly, we'll know if we have it. We do have it. That is... Nope, we don't have it. Because we have to use 2 mana to crack the clue. Man, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I honestly didn't even pay attention to the human. I was too focused on thinking about our outs to the Spellbinder. But yeah, you're right. That was completely just an oversight on my part. I forgot about the Adeline being in play. Yeah, unfortunately, we have no way to draw the Wren without spending mana. And boom, boom, boom. I think we just play the natural growth and just try and get them. Maybe they just click through their blocker step or something. I don't know. That's kind of cheesing out, even if they do it. But whatever. We're just gonna attack with our big stuff. If they didn't have the flyer here, this is exactly the board state I was talking about. Like, if you get this into play and they have all this little dirtly stuff here, and then just all of a sudden your stuff is ginormous and they can't attack or block effectively, um, like, clearly, if we were still in this game, we would just attack with the troll and just leave all this other stuff back to just block all his little piddly stuff, and we would just start winning the game that way. But we don't have the time because of the flyer. All right, they do remember to block things, so congratulations to opponent. Man, that was a back and forth game. I thought we were back in it for a while. Like, obviously, we're disadvantaged as soon as we see a snow covered plains, especially when we mulligan to 6 and they're on the play. But I felt like we had scrapped our way back in. We had some good draws with the one turn drawing the Blizzard Brawl was obviously amazing. The turn after that, when um, yeah, we just went back and forth for a couple turns, and they just ended up with that flyer, and we couldn't deal with it. So GG opponent. GG. Can I block with this? Does it fly? No, won't. Oh well. Well, that's gonna knock us out for tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't get there. That is below average for us, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. We made some mistakes, but I don't think anything um, totally egregious. So um, we at least made our money back, right? That's the good thing. We got our 500 gold that we paid in. So realistically, we just gained 3 uncommons. So we're gonna see it as that, and we also got to spend some time hanging out in chat. Chat was very active tonight. I loved hanging out with all you guys tonight. We did not get to upgrade to a rare. It is not guaranteed on 4 wins. You do get a 1 rare guaranteed off of 5 wins. So it would have been nice to get there. What does this do? Zimone Quandrix Prodigy. 2 mana for a 1/2. Simic. 1 and tap. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. 4 and tap, draw a card. If you control 8 or more lands, draw 2 cards. I mean, so it's just like everything Simic ever wants to do in life. It plays lands, it draws cards, it draws more cards if you have more lands. Huh? I don't know. I think 2 mana for a 1/2 though is probably asking a lot for like a rampy style deck. But what do I know? Does this card see any play? Do you guys know? I have not seen it ever, so I'm assuming no. Um, a recursive threat, but not a very good one. And then I'm happy to have another eye twitch. This is something that it is played in Simic Ramp. Okay, nice. Probably EDH. Yeah, yeah. If it's going to see play somewhere, it's probably. I mean, is it a commander in EDH? Probably not a very good commander, right? But well, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, who knows? It's definitely got to see play in some EDH deck though. Yeah, and then iTwitch I'm happy to have because honestly, the Blood in the Snow decks. Like I said, I'm pretty in for eventually playing a Blood in the Snow deck that runs Binding in the Old Gods with the land that's also a regrowth on the backside, and just trying to binding as many times as possible. I'm such a sucker for that card. I like binding a lot. Alongside the one from Midnight Hunt that also ramps. Let's see the Simic card from the Creeper, the Creeper. Yeah, Creeper gets me all the time. In the Storm the Festival deck that also runs Coma. I mean, this mono green deck can never beat a Coma in its life, and so every so often, I'll play against that mono or the green blue ramp deck, and they won't have a Coma, and I'll get so excited, and then they'll Storm the Festival for me, and I'll be like, oh, that's not too bad. And then they'll flash it back, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not too bad." And then I realize that they have a creeper in play, and they're about to get the Storm the Festival back and do it 2 more times, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to lose now." That's just such a good card to get back with a creeper. Um, Storm the Festival is a very good, a very fun card. Yeah, I agree with that. I honestly, I'm thinking about replacing the Huntmasters in this deck with one more Unnatural Growth and then one Storm the Festival. I kind of like in grindy games like the Mono Green Mirror. Um, the Tovolar's Huntmasters are good in the Mono Green Mirror, but I have kind of cooled on them a little bit, and I'm thinking that a lot of times we get down like sometimes in the Mono Green Mirror it has come down to milling because you go up a couple times with Rin, then you kill your own Rin, drop another Rin, make a token, but then you go up so you can make a second token. And if you're stalemated, a lot of times having something really good that like you could mill off a Rin and then still have it available to flash back, I think could take a lot of games. And I think having a second unnatural growth could really take some games as well. I think they might just be more impactful than the Huntmasters. So definitely thinking about making that change at some point. But my next wild card is for sure going to be my fourth troll. Anybody who has wanted to up to this point could have typed exclamation point chat in or exclamation point deck in the chat. I think if I do it, it only shows up for me. But if you do it, it should show up for you, and it'll be a link to the untapped.gg where you can see the current iteration of the deck. But I will also just pull it up on the screen real quick. And yeah, this is what we're currently working with. The two Huntmasters, like I said, are kind of in flux. I liked them a lot when we first started playing with them, but I've kind of cooled on them. So I think, like I said, that change will eventually. I have the Storm the Festival now, but I don't want to take just one Huntmaster out. If you have one in, I think you're incentivized to play the second one because if you ever like when you're just fighting your wolves against their wolves, and it's just your 2/2s or maybe 3/3s if you have a pack leader, or 4/3 if you have a Faceless Haven, that's okay. But if you ever get the second Huntmaster out, so you can start fighting, using the ability of one but using the other to fight with, so you're fighting with 7/7s. That has come up often enough that I've wanted to keep the second one in there. So if I do cut them, I'll cut them both at the same time. But I do have the Storm the Festival to replace the one with, but I do not, as of right now, have a second Unnatural Growth. So if and when I open another one of those or get the spare wild card to craft it, then I think that's what we'll do. But by far, the next wild card that we are going to invest in is going to be the fourth Old Growth Troll. I do not have. How often does the Daybound go off? That's a great question. You can engineer a turn for that to happen. So without wasting too much mana, if you say attack with a Faceless Haven or just prioritize taking a turn off to pump a Ranger's class up to level 3, you oftentimes can engineer a turn where you can flip them without giving up too much of an advantage. And then it is very good at flipping them back. So if you ever do want to flip them back, well, no, I guess you have the opportunity to flip them back, but I guess there's no upside to flipping them back. I was thinking about this deck. Sometimes wants to flip Cathar's back and forth, but you never want to. You'd never want to do that at Huntmaster. So ignore everything I just said. But yeah, you can engineer some turns to take some time off and flip them to get to the fun side. Um, like I said, the next wild card that I invest in will be the fourth Old Growth Troll. It is going to be replacing one of the Cobras. The way that I like to play this style of deck is I don't really like to ramp. I think I have all these amazing 3 drops that I just want to play a 3 drop on 3. Chariot on 3 is fine, but it is kind of dependent on my ramp creature living. And I think the downside of what happens if your creature doesn't live is not worth the upside when it does. I'd rather just play a better 2 drop and then play a good 3 drop. And, a real downside to ramping into Ren is a lot of times Ren tokens die to things at 4 toughness a turn early that they wouldn't have died to at 5 toughness. So I think that has come up often enough that I do ramp into Ren sometimes. If that's the kind of hand I have, then I will implement that plan. Um, but I don't want to build my deck around trying to get that to be the plan. So I know a lot of decks play the Tangled Florahedrons and or the whatever of winter, the untap snowland snow creature, whatever it's called. And I don't know. Not saying that that's a bad way to play the deck, but I normally don't play it in that way. So I think the curve is coming out for sure. And then I do want the other two mammoths, at least right now. Now that could change with Crimson Vow if something better comes out in Crimson Vow. But right now, my plan is to eventually also replace the second Cobra and I think the one Inscription with two more mammoths. Like I said, I like just having my curve in place and the mammoth giving me the ability to make a land drop or um, play a 3 drop on curve as I see fit. I think is a huge benefit that I appreciate. So the other I think difference that I play is I play a 4 full Haven and I don't play any Lair of the Hydra. That's a personal preference. The thing I like about the mammoths, even though they're not snowlands, is that these are just creatures that can be a land if I need it to be. So it's all upside. So if my brawl is not active because of a valley, that means the only alternative would have been my land not being in play at all, and so presumably my brawl still wouldn't be active. But the one layer of the Hydra, every time that I played it on the first couple turns to make sure that it came into play untapped, and then I drew a brawl, and then I realized I couldn't play my brawl on 3 or whatever. It just felt really bad. And so I decided I wasn't activating it very often, anyways. And so I just took it out of the deck. This deck has no shortage of things to do with its mana, I believe. And so I very rarely was finding the opportunities to activate a manland for a ton instead of just activating one for 3 that was more efficient for that 3 mana. For 3 mana on a Hydra, I only get a 2/2. For 3 mana on a Faceless Haven, I get a 4/3. And it's a wolf if I ever want to use to fight with Tovolar or something. So um, I found that to be much more effective, so that's the switch that I made. I will say that at the time I made the switch to 4 Faceless Havens, I only had 2 Old Growth Trolls. So I have started to see more issues with a 3 lane hand, but one of them is a Haven, with my 3 drop being an Old Growth Troll, and I can imagine that that's only going to go up when I get that 4th Old Growth Troll. So that is something I'll keep an eye on when that happens. But right now, I'm still pretty happy with the mana base. So, anyways, that's where the deck is right now. That's where we're going to be moving to if and when I get the cards to do so. Let's see. What I said. What does Ren usually get you? Um, what do you mean off of the plus ability? Like on average, how many lands does it get me? Um, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't worked that out specifically. Clearly, I like off the 5 mana. Yeah. Oh, you're saying like what's the advantage of having it in the deck? Like what does it offer for the deck? You're thinking of the value for 4 or 5 mana cards. So yeah, if honestly, Rin as a standalone card, I think would be comparable maybe to other 4 or 5 mana cards. But combined with the Chariot, I think it just provides such huge value, and I don't think there's much that you could replace it with honestly, that would be close. It is the only mythic in the deck, so if you're thinking about it from that perspective, um, you know, from like a budgetary perspective, I was happy to drop the 4 mythics and get it. But yeah, I think it's a bunch of little things, right? It's card advantage. Once you make your token, even if they kill the Rin, that's 1 for 1. But the next turn, if you go up, this deck is very mana hungry. So getting additional lands in your hand is just very useful. And digging towards the Faceless Havens in a lot of matchups is really good. And then above that, you saw that last game against Mono White. The thing we lost to was the Flyers. Almost always, if we're going to stabilize against Mono White and they're still going to eke out the win, it's going to be with an Elite Spellbinder because it's going to fly over in the games you don't have a Rin. So the Treefolk having Reach is just really, really good, surprisingly, in the Mono White matchup for that reason. So yeah, I don't think I would replace the Rins unless I found a 5 mana creature that had some sort of card advantage that also had reach or could deal with a flyer. I don't think you're going to find that in mono green. So super happy with the Rins. And like I said, just the interaction with Chariot, just make a tree folk, tap the tree folk through the Chariot, able to get in with the Chariot and the cats, because you didn't have to tap them because you tapped the tree folk. Or if the cats can't get in, you just tap the cats, and then you have 2 untapped tree folk to block. There's just no bad options if you're gonna attack with a chariot and copy a tree folk. It's just such a strong interaction. So, anyways, I think that is going to do it for me. It is a little after 1. I try to stream every night, roughly 11 to roughly 1, just kind of depending on when the league ends or the event or whatever that we're in ends. Sometimes we get in 2 events in that time, and tonight we didn't, but I was happy that tonight went how it did because we got to hang out and talk about a whole bunch of stuff in chat. So thank you to Alan for coming and hanging out with me, and Remus, as always, appreciate you being here, and Whatnot as well for coming and hanging out and joining us tonight. I appreciate the interaction, and you guys have been great. Hopefully you got something out of it, and um, might come back and hang out with me again. That would be great. But either way, I appreciate you being here tonight. So Alan, it was great talking to you again, as always. I hope to see you back and continue to, I'm terrible about reaching out and talking to people. And even if people reach out to me, a lot of times if I don't respond right away, I will forget. And so I meant what I said. If you come and just, hang out and BS with me here, it is a place I will be, and I will pay attention to what you say, and I will talk to you. So you'll be around from time to time. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Well, good deal. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this back, I am posting these videos to YouTube, by the way, as well. So if you are on YouTube and see this later on, feel free to drop me a question in chat if there's anything that I haven't answered in the deck tech or anything like that. And if you guys hang out for just a second, I have been trying to find people to raid as well when I end the stream, just to try and build community and whatnot. So I'm gonna put the thanks for watching scene up. But if you guys can just hang out for a second and stay with me, we actually got 8 viewers, so we got a pretty good raid that we can hit somebody with tonight. So that'd be great. But either way, I'm gonna cut it here, at least the part where I talk. So thank you guys for hanging out.